8. We are recessed out of closed session with nothing to report. Amy, can you please do another roll call for us?
Councilmember Kirby. Here. Berlant.
Here.
Mackey. Here. Powers. Here. Mayor Spokley.
Here. At this time, I'd like everybody to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is agenda approval. This is a time set aside for council members and or public to ask for removal, postponement, or change in the listed sequence of the agenda items. The agenda will be approved by consensus of the council. Do we have any changes to the agenda from the council? Seeing none, any members of the public want to change the listed sequence of the agenda?
I have one, Mayor and Council. I'd like to request the removal of item 3 from the consent calendar from the agenda for tonight.
We would like to remove that item. We'll bring it back at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, all those I think we need to do.
I'll move approval of the agenda
There we go.
minus item number 3.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the agenda with that change has been approved this evening. Next on our agenda is the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine in nature and will be approved by one blanket motion with a roll call vote. There will be a separate discussion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless persons request specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for discussion and separate action. Any item removed will be considered after the motion to approve the consent calendar is heard. Any changes? Councilmember Lant?
I'd like to remove items 6 and 8.
Items 6 and 8.
And 8?
And 8.
Anybody else on the council? Seeing none, we'll go to the public. Any members of the public that would like to see any items removed from our consent calendar? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar minus items 6 and 8.
And item 3 that was previously.
And item 3 that was removed.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Amy?
Councilmember Kirby.
Aye.
Berlant.
Aye.
Mackey.
Aye.
Powers.
Aye.
Mayor Spokley.
Aye. Who is going to take item 6?
Well, Mr. Mayor, I asked for it to be pulled so that I can recuse myself as I am employed by CAL FIRE. And though talking to our assistant city attorney, I'm not sure there specifically is actually a conflict, but just out of an abundant need for caution, I am going to step out so you can take whatever action you'd like to.
Great. Thank you very much. We'll give Councilmember Land a second to step out. I don't think we're going to need anything, Director Ruffcorn. I think we're okay. Does anybody have any specific questions on item 6?
No.
Seeing none, any members of the public have any questions or comments on item number 6? All right, seeing,
Mr. Mayor,
yes?
I'll make a motion by resolution to approve and authorize the Director of Public Safety to sign the Wildland Fire Protection Agreement for fiscal year 27-18 with CAL FIRE Department of Forestry and Fire Protection.
Second.
Motion and a second. Amy?
Councilmember Kirby.
Aye.
Mackey.
Aye.
Powers.
Aye.
Mayor Spokley.
Aye. And then item number 7 was the other one, and we can ask
8, item number 8.
item number 8.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I asked for item number 8 to be removed just so that, to ask the question, I guess, to staff of if there's any plan on the city's end to give us a little bit further and for our residents of what the impact of the switch means to them, or even if WAVE or the new company will be coming here, are rates going to go up, or, you know, maybe it's on them, but just might be of interest just to discuss it since we are approving the franchise exchange.
Sure, I can take that, Mayor and Council. I believe that representatives from WAVE were planning on being here this evening. Would you like to come and address the council and maybe give some background on this? And yeah, sure. if you
Yeah,
could go up
please,
to the
sir.
podium.
And
I'm
if
happy
you
to
wouldn't
fill.
mind introducing yourself for us, that would be great.
Hi, I'm Ishmael Goodrum. I'm Senior Vice President of Operations for WAVE of the California and Oregon cities. So fundamentally, nothing changes except for the main shareholders of the company. Nothing else changes, no rate changes or anything else will take place as a result of the change in control. Any other questions? Yeah.
Will it still go by the WAVE name, or will you be using a new brand?
Yes, there are no current plans to change the branding of the company at this time.
Okay, perfect. That's all I had.
Councilman
You
Kirby?
said there are no, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I thought you recognized me. I understand there are no rate changes right now, but does this new franchise agreement allow any different flexibility than WAVE had before in terms of raising rates?
In speaking with my senior counsel today, there were no changes, fundamental changes to the franchise agreement at all. Just a change in control.
And that's how our council is.
Yes, I can confirm that. The current franchise agreement stays in effect. What's
That's
happened here is that there are parent companies that are changing ownership, and
That's
under the franchise agreement and the city municipal code, that requires consent and notification to the council as the grantor of the franchise.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Powers?
I'm going to have comment is all when it's.
Okay, do we have any other questions for the representative from WAVE? Alrighty, sir, thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
You want to do your question now,
Sure, it's
or a comment?
It's a comment, and the reason I have never met someone from WAVE before. You know, you guys just do a great job, but I've never been able to publicly thank you for back in 2012 after we conducted a survey out at our airport and got 5 people to sign up and agree to purchase fiber optics broadband, if those are the same thing. And I'm sure I get confused.
Whatever.
And it resulted in you, WAVE, spending $150,000 hedging a bet that we would make you successful, and it helped make our airport successful. So without you and what you did for a community, hedging your bets, you've made our airport, which used to be 80% vacant, now has less than a 2% vacancy rate, and it's because you took a chance on us. So I'm proud to have you as our partner at the city, and I just wanted to publicly thank you. That was it.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear it. And Auburn is one of our more important markets here in California, so we're glad to be here and glad to be of value to the community. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to open it up to public. Do we have any members of the public who would like to speak on this item? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close public comment. Bring it back to council. I do want to make a quick comment, though, before we entertain any motions. I agree with what Councilwoman Powers said. Thank you for your support and efforts out at the airport. I think we do have some ongoing infrastructure related to broadband issues in our downtown, Old Town business districts. I see Bernie over here. I would love to get some presentation maybe by WAVE on what your plans are. I think you've got some interesting things going on with gigabit service that I know that we've got businesses in our area who would love to know that that's on the horizon. So whatever that messaging is, whether it's a presentation back to the council and the community so we can understand timeframes when that service might be available. The internet and connectivity is one of our primary needs as a modern society. So it's critically important for us to expand and retain and have a vital and viable business district. So if we could make a note to do that, that would be great. I would certainly appreciate it. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion by resolution to approve the transfer of ownership of cable franchise Astound Broadband LLC from WAVE Holdco LLC to Radiate Holdings LP.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any comments? Seeing none. Amy?
Councilmember Kirby.
Aye.
Berlant.
Aye.
Mackey.
Aye.
Powers.
Aye.
Mayor Spokely.
Aye. Thank you again for coming this evening. Really appreciate it. Next on our agenda is public comment. This is a time set aside so that the public may speak to the councils on items that are not on our agenda. Please make your comments as brief as possible. The council cannot act on items not included on the agenda. However, the items will be automatically referred to staff. Please speak your name, spell your name, and provide your address if you desire. Council members may have the option to speak for 30 seconds on items not on the agenda at this time. Councilman Kirby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A week from Friday, Placer High School plays its first game of the season against Pleasant Grove. It'll be at home, and I'll begin my 37th year of being involved with a team as a physician, and that's a little odd because I'm only 45, but my nose growing.
The math just isn't working, Bill.
Oh, it didn't. Anyway, it'll be a great season, so everybody come out and support the team.
Any other comments? All right, we'll go ahead and open up public comment. I see Sally's front and center, as always.
You were looking at me. I'm Sally Dolly, the Butt Lady of Auburn, and proud to be the Butt Lady of Auburn. And as usual, my community project continues to keep Auburn beautiful. And it's too bad the smokers with LUIIIDASS syndrome don't help out. And anyone wants to go for a walk with me, let me know, and I'll teach you how to use the counter, and we'll pick up butts together. And as of today, I am now 841,883 ugly butts that are not going to get eaten by birds, dogs, any other animal, washed down to whatever water. So, anyway, that's it.
Thank you, Sally.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
I'm Philip Jacques. I'm addressing you this evening as a citizen of the greater Auburn area. I had a perfect storm of a weekend. It was my birthday. I turned 40 again. I was in a fantastic play, and my sister and her husband were there to see me in this play. And they came in on Thursday night. And the reason anyway, we came in on Thursday night and Thursday afternoon, and the first place we hit was Old Town Auburn to show them the sights. Then we went to downtown, we had lunch at the club car, drove by the naked statues, and just gave them a general feeling of what Auburn was. And you guys, for 4 years that I've been watching, you have to deal with every single little problem that we've got, and maybe we forget sometimes, wow, what a city. Oh my God, look at this. Oh my God, I love the way this town feels. So I think we ought to take a break once in a while and celebrate this marvelous, marvelous place that we call home. And I, as a citizen, even though I'm a northern Auburn citizen, want to thank you guys very much because I know how hard you work. Thank you.
Thank you. And it was a great play.
Well said. Thank you very much, Phil. Any other comments from the public?
Well done, Sally. That's a big number. You've expanded your sphere of influence now, too. I've seen you out closer to the county now, too. Awesome. That's awesome. Doug Cahill, South Auburn resident. Thanks, Mayor Spokely, council members. I had the chance to address you last month regarding some issues that we recognized as a kind of a growing group on Facebook about what we see as decaying elements of the city, both public and private. I'm not here to go over that again. I just actually have a question, and I can take the question offline, and I'm happy to talk with the clerk after. One of the items that I raised was about urging the council to take the matter at a very near meeting and ask that they solicit the city manager and department directors, and hopefully for a short-term action plan and what we were going to do long-term. In the beginning of the public comment section, and the mayor read it, it indicates that items will be automatically referred to staff. So that said, do I need to leave my email address with someone so I know who's working on it and I can get some feedback? I can take the answer offline with the clerk and I'm happy to do that. So thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other members of the public who would like to speak to the council this evening? Good evening, sir.
Hi, my name is Robert Kisleff, Kiseleff. I live in South Auburn. I've been a resident here within city limits for over 16 years. It's my first city council meeting. I didn't have an opportunity to attend last month, so I hope I'm not repeating anything that's been brought up already. But you know, I want to talk a little bit about the transient issues here in town. You know, certainly longer than I've been here, we've had homeless in our community, but it hasn't been until the last several years that we've had a real criminal transient issue that's come up and affected the nature of our community. And I know it's a complex issue, but one thing I would encourage the city to do really is to step up code enforcement activities here, particularly in areas like the Auburn Ravine Park trail area there, where vegetation is overgrown, and it encourages people to camp. With that camping then, it really affects both the businesses and the customers of those businesses in the neighboring areas. I'm thinking particularly around the shopping center on Elm Street and the strip mall along Highway 49. In particular, it contributes, besides the criminal issues. I know you're certainly more aware than I am of a lot of the details, but I know we've had sexual assaults, we've had assaults, we've had burglaries and other issues in that local area. But besides that, obviously, it affects, it contributes to the blight in that area, particularly on Highway 49, and that's often the first sight and first impression that people have coming into our community, and I think it would be very discouraging. And if I were a tourist coming in here, I'd keep moving. I wouldn't want to spend my money here. And kind of on that point as well, I know it's important for us as community members to spend our money in town so we can pay for the programs and services that help address these issues. But honestly, I hate to say it, but honestly, I avoid shopping here in town as much as I can. I mentioned I live in South Auburn. It's easy enough for me to get down to Loomis or Rockland to do what I have to do. I don't have to deal with the hassles and you know, the crime and other issues that are becoming more apparent here in our town. And I know others, you know, certainly feel the same way. The other point I wanted to bring up really had to do with our parks. And kind of the area further south in along Auburn, Folsom, Sacramento Street, and Maidu in that area. It's not terrible yet, but we are getting more of an issue there. I'm thinking particularly of Overlook Park and Railhead Park. And I think it's important for us to be aware of the situation that's changing in that part of our town as well. You know, when there are camps down below Overlook, if it's on city property or on state property, we seem to have a lot more issues in the park up above the hill itself. When those camps get cleared out, we seem to have less. So I think that's something just to keep in mind, that you know, it's coming, and I think it's important for us all to be aware of that situation. And thank you for the time.
Thank you very much for your comments. So we've had a couple of folks mention the homeless situation. And for those who weren't here a few weeks back, I did take the time on a Saturday to ride along with code enforcement and the increased patrols that we're performing on the various encampment areas that are well known to our law enforcement officers. We recognize it as an issue. We do have a plan. How we articulate that plan out to the public is something that we need to work on. But it is revealing, or it is showing results. Just in the time that I spent out there, I plan to go back out with a group in the weeks, months to come, just to kind of follow up further. So it's an important issue to, I think, this entire council. We've got folks working pretty diligently to try to help improve the situation for all of the members of our community. So stay tuned. We'll have more reports, and I don't know, again, I haven't had a chance to talk to the city manager or the director of public safety, but it'll be in the form of some sort of a regular update, I think, or reporting back to the council and the community, so everybody understands kind of the direction that we're heading with this particular problem. It's a difficult situation. It's the balance between public safety and accessibility for all people in our community. So no easy answers, but we're certainly working on it. I wanted to just let everybody know that. All right, continuing on with public comment. Good evening, ma'am.
Hello. I'm Cheryl Kisleff, the other half to the gentleman just talking. And I was not able to be here at the last meeting either, but I was able to watch it online. And there was one thing that concerned me, and actually you just mentioned it, was your experiences being out with Auburn PD. And they were mentioning the number of homeless being 11 or 12 or so. And that's concerning to me because in the Bermuda Triangle from Nevada Street train station to Rite Aid to Auburn Ravine 7-Eleven, it seems like there's a lot more than that chronically homeless. And we know them by name. Obviously, the police know them by name. And I don't know what the answer is for these problems here in Auburn. I'm not saying that I do. If I had some type of solution, I would blink my genie eyes and make it all go away. So I'm not trying to say I know what's best, but I do know the answer is not minimizing how extensive the problem really is. And whether the minimalization is intentional or not, I don't know. I'm certainly not imputing bad motives to anyone, but the numbers do seem to be underreported. Last week at 6:30, my husband and I and another member that's here right now, we walked the Auburn Ravine Trail, which we've been trying to do on a regular basis, just kind of make our presence known. And that night at 6:30 p.m., there were 7 homeless on the trail and 1 in the bushes. Most of those were people that even I knew by name, and I'm new to even being involved in this issue for the community. The trail was filthy. The trail and the creek actually were filthy with debris and human waste. There's a rock at the Auburn Ravine end of the trail, kind of near the 7-Eleven, that I've affectionately nicknamed Poop Rock. It's not meant to be funny. It's nicknamed because there's typically human waste on it. Poop Rock is now our reference point when we're talking about the trail. We say if something's going on at the trail, is it the Rite Aid end or is it Poop Rock end? In case you're wondering how I know it's human waste, as my husband so eloquently said to the others in the group, after living in downtown San Francisco for a long period of time, you begin to distinguish the difference between the two. I am sympathetic to the problems of addiction, which I know is at the root of a lot of the transient and homeless population here in Auburn. I have an adult daughter who has struggled with addiction. When she was a teenager, we involuntarily put her into a rehab program to help her with her issues. After 2.5 years and $225,000, she had the tools she needed to be sober. So when she decided as an adult that sobriety wasn't that much fun, my husband and I made the very painful decision to not have contact with her. For her sake, for our sake, for the sake of our neighbors and our community, we no longer know where she is. But yet, every day, and it's been 5 years since we've spoken to her, yet every day my pain is exacerbated by having to see and tolerate those same behaviors in people that I have no natural affection for. I see it every single day. It's in my neighborhood when there's someone sitting outside my home wanting to charge their cell phone. It's the needle I almost stepped on in Bank of America parking lot when I went to do my banking. It's at Rite Aid, it's at Save Mart, it's at Target. It's truly devastating. So my point is that I am sympathetic to what's going on, and my husband and I and several others of our neighbors, we are willing to help with any type of grassroots effort that we can offer so that we can make a difference. We're not saying, we have a problem, you need to fix it. We're saying, we will help, even 5 people, 5 of us could make a difference, but we're looking to our community leaders to give us the direction. And thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Do we have anybody else in the public who would like to speak to the council this evening? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment. I would ask the 2 folks who just spoke to please hang out for a few minutes after the meeting if you would. I'd like to talk with you and maybe some of the other council members as well. One last quick thing I want to mention to everybody before we move into reports is this Thursday is our second co-op.
Yes.
6 to 10 in downtown. Please come on out and check it out. The first one was held in July, and it was a huge success. It was greatly attended. I think we had somewhere in the neighborhood of 800 to 1,000 folks over the evening who showed up. Stores stay open late, some great entertainment and activities right in our downtown area, so please come out and join us. All right, with that, we'll move to reports.
Wow, I'm first all day this day. Thank you. Cheryl and I have been attending the meetings for the new Pioneer Community Energy. Thank you, Cheryl. And we have a series of meetings planned at least 2 times or 3 times a month, all the way until January when it goes into effect. And when we have more to talk about, we'll keep you posted. But we just approved our bylaws and budgeting and how to hire people, and that's about as far as we've gotten. Airport Business Park Association doesn't meet till next month. The Shack also has August off, and the Placer County Transportation Agency meets next Wednesday at 9 a.m. for those of you who are interested in coming along. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
All my meetings are this week.
Perfect. Thank you, Councilwoman Mackey. Councilman Berlant.
Thank you. The Placer County Air Pollution Control District met last week, and a couple items of note. Actually, one I'll talk about is we received an update on the cap and trade bill that was recently passed by the legislature and signed by the governor into law. And the biggest impact that I think it has here on Auburn that we're watching very closely is that in one of the 2 bills that was passed to extend the cap and trade program, there's actually going to be some additional restrictions on local control for local air pollution control districts. And one of those that I think is probably an important one is no longer will local air pollution control districts be able to set the regulatory levels for stationary pollutants. Now the California Air Resources Board will begin to do that. So we will have a statewide figure. Here in Placer County, it's really not the end of the world. The biggest stationary pollutant is the Roseville Electric, and they actually are some of the lowest for their type of categories. But it just is just something we need to be aware of, that we're continuing to see more local control taken away from us, and there's a lot to what this bill has to play that may be concerning for our ability to control our own pollution. The other committee that Councilmember Kirby and I sit on is the Annexation Committee. Excuse me. They continue to discuss their presentation that they'll be bringing to us and their final report. I'm not aware, we were just discussing, I don't believe, and maybe the city manager knows when that will be, but I know that they're very close to being prepared to give some recommendations to us. So be prepared that in the next couple of months we should see that. And the Placer County Flood Control District did not meet this week, so I have nothing for them.
Great, thank you very much. Councilman Kirby.
Follow up on the Annexation Committee. They've had 19 meetings to date, which is quite a few, all volunteer, no city funds expended, all very interested citizens in this issue, and I think they're going to have a very good report that the council and the public can, I hope, spends a good deal of time going over. LAFCO met, and there was really nothing going on there. We have our board meeting for the Board of Directors of the state LAFCO, which I'm on next Friday in San Diego, so I won't be at the co-op because I have to fly down on Thursday night for the meeting. I'm the chairman of the annual conference, so this is one of our long meetings before that. Our legislative agenda has really gone quite well. We've been able to, there were a number of things that would have affected LAFCO that we had to get in and work with the legislators so they could see not to interfere with local control, and we were largely successful. So LAFCO's had a pretty good legislative year, but a very busy one.
Great, thank you very much. I'll be brief. We did have an EDC meeting last week. It was canceled because we did not have a quorum. We did take the opportunity, though, to review some of the applications. They handed out the applications for some vacancies that we have on the Economic Development Commission. We've got 3 or 4 great applications in, so hopefully we'll get those seats filled in the next, at our next meeting. And then Maura Rowe, our Economic Development Director, gave a brief update on the last co-op event, some good things, some bad things, some things to improve. I think all in all, this next one's going to be another big success. So again, if you happen to be in town or around, come on out. Weather should be relatively mild for us, and it should be a great event this Thursday, 6 to 10. Thank you very much. That's all I have. I do have one more thing. SACOG is meeting this week on Thursday, so I'll have a report for everybody at the next meeting. With that, I will adjourn this meeting. Thanks, everybody, for coming.